All right, so we are here live podcasting, leading for deeper learning. It's the lunch hour. I get to sit down with amazing people all day, and we're talking about who they are, their experience at Deeper Learning New York, and anything else that surfaces. So Eddie Cohen, great to meet you and be here with you. Tell the listeners, who are you, what do you do, and then we'll dive in.
Perfect. So Eddie Cohen, I'm the Associate Director at the Center for Math, Science, and Computer Education at Rutgers. We work with teachers K-12, supporting them in learning anything STEM related. We existed before STEM was a thing. That's why the name's so long and a mouthful. I also have a nonprofit called the Energy Museum, kind of working on my passion projects. Thinking about a 1970 Cadillac convertible, converting it to electric. Working with kids. I drive a F-150 Lightning. Kids are always excited about how does it work? What's the frunk? Where's the motor? How much power do you have?
Right.
So really talking about those kind of sexy objects in energy and how we move. Think about AI. AI takes a lot of power. So part of that is, where's the power coming from? Meta's looking at geothermal, looking at small nuclear reactors now to power AI systems. So that's kind of the work I do with the nonprofit, the Energy Museum. And then at Rutgers, we do anything to support teachers and kids age 2 to 102.
Right.
Next week, I'm running a makerspace camp. We have 40 kids on campus.
At Rutgers?
At Rutgers,
okay.
Yeah. CNC, 3D printing, laser. We have a water jet laser. They kind of solve problems and design solutions all in 4 days and do a Shark Tank pitch at the end.
Nice.
So a lot of fun, different things I get to do.
Right. So how's the F-150 Lightning?
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. I've never drove a truck before.
So this is your first truck?
My first truck.
You're drawing compare.
Yeah, it's hard to compare.
Right.
I have an F-150 at work that we use in the makerspace.
Okay.
So I've driven a gas truck, but I didn't own it. So I've used trucks before.
You tow your...
I have the cheapest version, so I can tow 5,000 pounds. It goes up to 12,500.
Gotcha.
But this is my third electric vehicle. I had the Honda Fit Electric, which is a small little electric car.
Yeah.
Which is super fast and kind of sporty.
Right.
And this is also super fast, but 6,000 pounds.
Right.
Big difference there.
Different vehicle. So you're here at Deeper Learning. First, just about a day and a half in, what are you hearing, seeing, feeling? Just share a little bit with the listeners about kind of the vibe and what's happening.
Yeah, so my first time here, it's amazing. The portrait of a graduate from New York just came out, so that's been a hot topic I've heard a lot about. Being from Jersey, I didn't know about it, so learning about that and seeing how it connects. We do a lot of work with Open SciEd. I'm thinking in my head how I can help teachers connect Open SciEd to the portrait of the graduate. In my 2 hours that I've been here this morning, thinking about that and working with some staff. I always love coming to conferences because I think the collaboration between people who are also attending and what they're interested in and where they want to go with their goals kind of helps me kind of design professional development for them.
Right.
So that's been really exciting this morning. I presented yesterday, so I didn't get to really see as much yesterday because I was the one teaching.
Right.
But the people we had in my session were highly engaging. We're looking at problem-based learning, climate change, design thinking, and how that kind of all works together, sustainability.
Right. So you had a deep dive, a couple hours in the morning, lunch break, get back together. Take us through, we sit down, we're participants. Tell me a little bit about your session.
Yeah, so the first part we did was a design thinking challenge. We had to stack cups and you're holding, I don't know if you've done it before with the rubber band. Yeah. You have solo cups and you have to kind of collaborate, communicate, share ideas, redesign your thinking and try to stack those cups as fast as possible. And then, the leader who talked a lot, we blindfold them. And now they can't see. Right. Other people can't talk, so you kind of take away some of the
adding
senses.
Those constraints in.
And having them be more creative with how they're going to work together and see about that. So we did a little design thinking, problem-based learning, kind of background 101. And then we got into my session looking at how to actually build wind turbines as an exemplar and using circuitry, I had brought a leaf blower. So we had a fan blowing on the wind turbine, and then you had the redesign with the angles of the blades, looking at the amount of blades, but using that as an exemplar for our engineering design process.
Awesome.
I teach a brainstorming technique, how to brainstorm 46,656 ways in about 20 minutes using a morph chart. So you kind of combine your ideas and kind of group. So you do a whole class brainstorm, and then based on your interest and what you're kind of choosing, we do it together in a class. If people come up and circle, and then now I know, hey, Jonah's going to go with this group, and these guys are going to look at the 3-blade design, and these kids are interested in the 45-degree angle. What's the best angle for a blade? But you can use that technique for anything.
Right.
So that's one of my favorite things I presented at ASCD last year about how to brainstorm quickly. Because before COVID, teachers would say kids get 3 ideas. Post-COVID, my favorite teacher said, "Oh, I get a half an idea now." So having kids actually brainstorm and get 46,000 plus ways in 20 minutes.
Right.
It's pretty impressive. I've done it with middle school kids, first period, real quiet. Start brainstorming, 15 minutes in, they're all yelling at me.
Right. No,
that's good.
I love it. I got to get a hold of that protocol. So sounds like an amazing session. Workshops today. You attended?
I did. I attended.
What'd you do for your first?
The first one, where was I this morning? It's been such a long day already. My first one was looking at the AI tools for it was a special ed type.
Yeah. Project planner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really cool tool. I was excited about how they kind of organize how well the AI can adjust and put in. Looking at the standards, looking at the different modifications to put in to help students. The fact that it gives a full month kind of unit plan and breaks out the sessions of like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I've used some other AI tools like AI Magic for schools.
Right.
It doesn't give a whole month.
No.
Right? So the way it's organizing it was a pretty impressive tool.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about trying to bring that back to Rutgers actually and use it more because we do an engineering notebook, but it just sits on the web that no one has access to. Partnering with them might be a good way to get it out to everyone.
Absolutely. What about the second session?
So our second session, we're looking at was the CTE session.
Okay.
And looking at I think it was Define Learning. I'm trying to remember the company.
The CTE was there a state ed rep there? Peter Harris, Amy Cox.
No, it wasn't them.
Okay.
It's a different session.
Not sure which one.
Yeah. But we looked at how to kind of collaborate and work together in actually doing a design challenge, which I didn't know was going to happen, but that's my bread and butter. But doing a design challenge for shoes. And
cool.
We actually make shoes, and we had to be comfortable and made them out of Play-Doh, and why we did it, and the collaboration piece, and kind of the going back to the profile of a graduate and what skills, soft skills, and what the companies want, the CTE companies, the industry wants from our CTE programs, and how 10 or 15 years ago it was the same thing about working together, communicating, being able to talk. And then the second part was kind of talking about how this presenter runs a virtual school at her BOCES, and how kind of these kids who were in their shell and for whatever reason didn't want to go to the traditional school, and we're coming to this virtual school model and how to bring out these skills once again from them.
Awesome. So I want to get you back to your break. You have the opportunity to work in your work and through your work with educators, helping them think differently about design, innovation, idea generation, all of that. We've got leaders here. Advice for leaders to build systems that foster those things that we know, the quiet first period, 15 minutes later, they're yelling, right? Like that's not arbitrary, right? Like that's, so your advice for leaders to be able to kind of, to be able to plant these seeds, grow systems and spaces where teachers can embrace this work and ultimately students can benefit.
I think the word embrace this work. So I've heard a couple of times and I do a lot with PBL,
right?
Problem-based learning. Teachers can't do that, or they have trouble doing that, or it's going to be a hard transition.
Right.
So what systems do we have? What can we create to help that transition? Finding out why they won't transition. Doing surveys, getting data. Like, hey, why haven't you done this yet? The research is showing kids will learn more.
Right.
I always use the example from Lucas Foundation with AP classes and doing PBL. 8% increase year 1, 10% increase year 2.
Right.
The data shows the kids will be more successful in learning, and your job as a teacher is to help them learn.
Right.
What do we need to transition? So finding out why, our school, our teachers, I was a vice principal, school administrator, supervisor, what in my team could get people to move.
Right.
At one school I was working at, they cared about the kids who were underrepresented. So we taught explicit techniques for this population of students. And then the teachers were doing whole class instruction using those techniques. Well, it also helps all kids learn when you start using research-based techniques. And then our scores went up. For our AP, STEM scores, we went from 88th in the nation to 50th in the nation, right, in 1 year. Because once you start teaching high-quality, research-based pedagogical practices for all students, even if you care about one group, I've had other teachers I worked with, they care about classroom management. If that's your focus, classroom management, all right, once again, research-based, problem-based learning, for example, helps with classroom management. So kind of finding out what the teacher's pressure point is, and how we can support that and helping that in the system, I think is the best advice.
Yeah. So Eddie Cohen, thanks for being at Deeper Learning in New York. Thank you for spending a couple minutes. someone wants to get in touch with you, have a conversation, figure out how you can help them, how do they do that?
Yeah, so Ed the Science Guy is my email at iCloud.com. It's also my X handle. I'm also on LinkedIn. So Ed the Science Guy, you'll find me, Edward Cohen.
All right, Ed the Science Guy, Deeper Learning New York. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right.